As I've said in previous episodes of this show, we are not professional cooks, and you probably aren't either, so it's fine. It's the motto of this show. It's fine. Also, probably most people's review of the show. Hey there friends, welcome to Low Key Catholic. My name's Rob Maslowski, and today we are in the brand new Catholic kitchen, and I am joined here by seminarian Randy Skeet.
Hi everyone.
In preparation for Our Lady of Guadalupe and St. Juan Diego's feast day, we are making Birria Tacos with Esquites, as well as black beans and sangria, with a couple of special ingredients to recognize Our Lady. So, let's get started, shall we? If I can have you start by de-stemming and de-seeding those guajillo chiles, I'm gonna get some water on a kettle going so that we can get those softened before we need them. So yeah, we'll start there.
Perfect.
So Randy, while you're doing that, tell us, what do you know about Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Our Lady appeared to an indigenous man named Juan Diego. Juan Diego was, at this time, I think in his 40s, so he was somewhat of an older man who had recently converted and became a Christian, and he was a very faithful man. He would go to Mass and was well known in the community, but eventually on his way to Mass one day, he stumbled upon this mysterious, beautiful lady on this mountain that is within the middle of what's now called Mexico City. And there was a beautiful morning. It was in the middle of December, and Our Lady appeared to Juan Diego and asked him to build a shrine or build a church in honor of her presence as the Mother of God. He ended up going to the bishop and told the bishop at the time that Our Lady had appeared to him and had asked for a church to be built in her honor. The bishop said, "You'll need some proof." But the next day he was going to go around the mountain, around this hill that he had visited the day before. But then Our Lady appeared to him a second time, even on this different route that he was taking.
So I suppose I should explain what we're actually doing here, huh? This will probably go in an earlier point in the video than where we're at right now. But basically what we're doing right now is making the marinade for our beef so that we can get it cooking and just let it cook for as long as possible. Because really, when we start to assemble our birria tacos, we want the birria to be like falling apart. All right, so we have our peppers, our seasoning, our vinegar, our onions, our garlic, all of the good flavors in here. We're gonna get it blended together, and then in with our meat. Ooh, baby, that looks great.
Oh yeah, perfect.
All right, so we're gonna get this into our meat along with our crushed tomatoes, as well as our rose. We can't forget to put more rose in it.
Oh, yeah.
As well as some unblended cactus. And then we're just gonna let it cook as long as we can while we make everything else. So we'll let that run, and then in the meantime, we are going to work on our sides. Black beans, esquites, and to wrap it all up, we'll get our sangria ready and chilled before we assemble our birria tacos.
A couple of summers ago, my classmates and I were doing a Spanish tutoring summer. My tutor had asked me how to pronounce my last name, and my last name is Skeet. And so I said, it sounds like skeet. And she's like, "Es como esquites." And I had no idea what esquites were. And so she explained it's pretty much like Mexican street corn, what's called elote, but it's without the cob. And so you just use the kernels and the mayonnaise and the different spices and the cheese, and you just put it in a bowl and mix it together, and it's super simple. But I had no idea that that's what it was called. So the nickname she always used the rest of that summer while we were tutoring was Esquites.
Well, that's funny because I didn't know that, but we're making Esquites. While Randy is finishing chopping up some of our last ingredients, I'm going to get our corn on the ready for our Esquites.
Me, I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's cold. A good corn with knobs. It has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cold. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. I'm excited that that'll anything change.
And so while we've got the corn on, we're also going to get some of the ingredients for our black beans going. So I'm going to take about half of the onions that Randy prepped and our garlic, get those going in some butter in our pot. And once our onions are translucent, we'll add our black beans and cilantro, as well as some cactus and cumin in there with it.
Get back to the story, please.
And so what ended up happening is the next day, Our Lady appeared to Juan Diego again and said, I'll give you this kind of sign of my presence. And so on the hill of Tepeyac started to grow all these roses, which are out of season in the time of December in the area of Mexico. And so he gathered all these roses in his tilma, it's called, or just kind of like a little cloak that he was wearing. And he went to the bishop, and the moment that he let the rose petals fall out of his tilma, the bishop and all the other people surrounding him saw this image imprinted on the cloth, on the cloak. And it's the image that we still have today of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And it's the sign of not a condemning, harsh criticism of the way that the Europeans were starting to preach the gospel, and it wasn't a condemning way for the indigenous peoples to become Christian and become baptized, but it was this very motherly, tender, maternal love that gathered, and to this day is still gathering all the people of the New World, especially of the Americas, to her care so that we can become closer disciples of her son. So it's a very, very beautiful story, and it's a story that we're still in today.
Have you ever had it straight from the jar?
I'm not.
Would you like to?
Heck yeah.
Sir. You already you were gonna do it, you have to do it now. I'm gonna feed you. That wasn't what my plan was, but I love it. Fantastic. Couldn't have thought of a better guest for our first episode, Mac. Alone he got like. Alright. So I think most of our cooking is done. We just need to let our beans cook down a little more. But we still need to make a beverage.
Oh yeah.
We're going to make a kind of, I don't want to call it a typical sangria because it's not really, because of course we're putting other stuff in it, like rose and cactus fruit. But we're also going to make a non-alcoholic sangria, as is often called a virgin sangria for Blessed Virgin Mary. So it all works out. So like in my reflections about the rose and cactus fruit for this episode, I have given it some thought of like what the significance of those ingredients are, and not more so the ingredients, but like they're certainly not the primary aspects of the story. But the rose and the cactus also, I think, reminds us of how God works, and that like that doesn't mean God wasn't present to those people beforehand. Like when we think of like the barren land of Mexico, especially in Mexico City, and like the desert areas, like cactus is an incredible source of nutrients and hydration at some points, and like that can grow in the worst possible situations. And that's a good reminder that God is present in the worst, climates of our lives. But then, of course, like when God's grace is added into that, then so much more beauty is possible, and that's where the rose really fits in. So, what do you think the story of Our Lady has informed your ministry? Or how, that wasn't a question. How would you say that the story of Our Lady and Juan Diego has informed your ministry?
Yeah, I really didn't have a super strong relationship with Mary, I guess you could say. But going down to Mexico City to visit the shrine, and actually during that trip we visited the Basilica Shrine 2 times. Going up to the top of the hill, in the midst of one of the most populated cities on earth, there's sirens all around, it's noisy. At the top of this hill that can overlook a lot of the city, you saw butterflies flying around. It was almost as if we were in this like huge bubble in the city, and everything, all the chaos and the outside of the city was kind of protected. It was so crowded in the chapel, but so peaceful that I was able to just kind of sit down and pray for about an hour. And when in the midst of my prayer and the kind of silence of my heart, I was able to just feel and recognize Mary's presence as if my mom were there with me. It's more than something abstract. It's a real love that she gives to each of us.
I gotta work on the color of this, but we'll see how it tastes. All right. There we go.
Salud.
Salud.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to trade?
Yes.
If you want to be fancy, hold your pinky up like this. The higher you hold it, the fancier you are. Now that's fancy.
Yeah.
Very different flavors for sure.
But it's very fresh.
Mm-hmm. Both work.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
That tastes like sangria, so we like nailed it.
Yep. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what would solve the color issue there.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe I shouldn't have used orange juice, because I think that's where we lose some of the transparency in it.
Yep. It's a little bit cloudier.
Yeah, so I wonder if I, instead of putting orange juice, if I had just done the orange and pineapple soda and the sangria soda, and I wonder if even like adding a little bit of grape juice to maintain the purple color
Yeah.
would maybe work.
Yeah.
But it tastes good. You should try it at home. And now that we have our beverages ready, let's finish preparing our meal, shall we? That is our Birria Tacos with rose and cactus, along with Esquites, black beans, and our cactus fruit and rose sangria. I hope you enjoyed watching. Randy, thank you for joining us and sharing a little bit about Our Lady. Be a saint, love your neighbor, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Dig in. Woohoo! Use that one.
Oh. The consomme changes everything.